The coffee was cold by the time I finished explaining my idea to Marcus. We were sitting in our parents' kitchen, the same scratched oak table where we'd done homework 20 years ago. Now, at 31, I was showing my older brother the culmination of 3 years of nights and weekends. My revolutionary approach to sustainable packaging that dissolved in water but remained durable during shipping. So the polymer structure actually shifts based on exposure to specific enzymes, I explained, sliding my prototype across the table. It's completely biodegradable, but stable enough to protect products during a 6-month shelf life. Marcus turned the clear packaging over in his hands, his MBA brain probably calculating market valuations. He'd always been the business genius of the family. Harvard Business School, Goldman Sachs, the works. I was just Amelia, the one who answered phones at his investment firm. This is actually brilliant, he said slowly. The applications are endless. Food packaging, medical supplies, shipping materials. I know. I couldn't contain my excitement. I've been testing variations for 3 years. The formula is finally perfect. I just need to figure out the business side. How many people know about this? His tone had shifted, become sharper. Just you and Dr. Patel from my night chemistry classes. Why? No patents? No provisional applications? I shook my head. I wanted to perfect the formula first. Plus, patent lawyers are expensive, and I'm just my secretary, he finished, but his smile softened the words. Millie, you can't sit on something like this. The market is desperate for sustainable solutions. This could be worth millions. You really think so? I know so. Tell you what, let me help. I'll handle the business side, you handle the science. Partners. I should have paid attention to the way he pocketed my prototype. Should have noticed how he took photos of all my documentation for reference. Should have wondered why my brilliant brother suddenly had so much interest in his little sister's chemistry project. But I was blinded by validation. Marcus, successful, brilliant Marcus, thought my idea had potential. Partners, I agreed, shaking his hand. That was Thursday evening. By Monday morning, everything had changed. I arrived at the office early, as always, to find Marcus's calendar mysteriously blocked for the entire week. Investment opportunities, his automated response read. Strange, since I handled his schedule and knew nothing about any trips. Tuesday, my colleague Janet from accounting asked casually, So, Marcus is starting his own company? Big moves. What? Where did you hear that? He was talking to Reynolds from the Singapore office. Something about revolutionary packaging technology. My blood turned to ice water. Wednesday, I overheard him on a conference call through his closed office door. The biodegradable polymer structure shifts based on enzyme exposure. Yes, it's my design. 3 years of development. My design. My 3 years. I knocked, but he waved me away, mouthing important call. Thursday, I confronted him. The packaging idea, you're pitching it to investors? He didn't even have the decency to look guilty. Millie, let's be realistic. You're a secretary with a community college chemistry degree. I'm a Harvard MBA with a decade of investment experience. Who do you think investors will take seriously? But it's my idea. My formula. Ideas are worthless without execution. You said it yourself. You don't understand business. I'm doing you a favor. Once I secure funding, I'll bring you on as a lab technician or something. Lab technician? For my own invention. He laughed, actually laughed. Come on, Millie. You're just the secretary. You answer my phones, schedule my meetings. Did you really think you could run a startup? This is the real world, not some feel-good movie where the underdog wins. You're stealing from me. I'm maximizing potential. There's a difference. He straightened his tie, the same power move he used when closing deals. Look, I'll cut you in for 5% equity once we're funded. That's generous for someone who is just going to let this sit in our parents' kitchen forever. Get out. Excuse me? Get out of your office. Now, I need to update your calendar. He smirked. That's my girl. Know your place and everyone benefits. As soon as he left, I did update his calendar. Specifically, I canceled every meeting for the next 2 weeks and gave myself the time off I'd never taken in 5 years of working for him. Then I walked out with my personal belongings and his client contact list, the one I'd meticulously maintained and memorized. That night, I did 3 things. First, I called Dr. Patel, my chemistry professor. Remember when you offered to connect me with your patent attorney friend? I'm ready. Second, I went through every single document, email, and photo on my personal devices. 3 years of time-stamped research, formula iterations, failed experiments, breakthrough moments, all dated, all clearly showing the evolution of my work. Third, I opened my safety deposit box and pulled out the sealed envelope I'd placed there 6 months earlier, containing my complete formula and detailed documentation. The envelope I'd had notarized on a paranoid whim after watching a documentary about stolen inventions. Marcus might have thought I was just a secretary, but secretaries know the value of documentation. We're the ones who keep the receipts, file the papers, and maintain the records that save executive asses daily. Patricia Huang, the patent attorney, reviewed my documentation with increasing excitement. This is incredibly thorough. When did you say your brother saw this? Last Thursday. And when did you create this notarized record? 6 months ago. I also have emails to myself with formula attachments going back 3 years, lab notebooks with dated entries, even credit card records for every chemical I purchased. She smiled. Amelia, I've seen a lot of IP theft cases. Rarely do I see someone this prepared. We're filing immediately, patents, trademarks, the works. Your brother made a critical error. What's that? He assumed you were just a secretary. He never imagined you'd protect yourself. The applications were filed within 48 hours. Patent pending. Trademark pending. Everything legally locked down with priority dates that preceded Marcus's invention by years. Then I waited. For 3 weeks, I watched from afar as Marcus pitched his revolutionary packaging solution. He'd created a slick presentation, hired a designer for mock-ups, even incorporated under the name GreenWrap Solutions. He was good, I'd give him that. He'd absorbed enough of my explanation to sound convincing. But there were gaps, crucial details about the enzyme triggers, temperature stability variations, manufacturing scalability issues I'd solved through trial and error. Things you couldn't fake without actually doing the work. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. Unknown number, New York area code. Ms. Chen? This is David Liu from Liu Santangelo LLP. I'm representing your brother, Marcus Chen, in a matter regarding certain intellectual property. You mean my intellectual property? A pause. That's actually why I'm calling. Mr. Chen has been presenting a biodegradable packaging technology to our investment group. However, our due diligence has uncovered some concerning issues, such as patent applications filed in your name that predate his claims, extensive documentation suggesting you're the actual inventor. Ms. Chen, did your brother steal your idea? Yes. Simple. Direct. True. I see. This is complicated. Our firm has already advanced significant resources based on Mr. Chen's presentations. We're looking at potential fraud charges. That's between you and Marcus. But if you're interested in the actual technology, with the actual inventor who can actually explain how it works and scale production, I'm happy to discuss a legitimate partnership. You're suggesting we abandon Mr. Chen and work directly with you? I'm suggesting you work with the person who spent 3 years developing this technology, not the one who spent 3 weeks stealing it. Check your email. I just sent you my patent filing receipts and a sample of my documentation. Call me back when you've reviewed it. I hung up and waited. This time, I didn't have to wait long. Within 6 hours, David Liu called back. Within 12 hours, I was on a video call with the full investment committee. Within 48 hours, I had a term sheet for $2 million in seed funding. Marcus found out when Liu Santangelo formally withdrew from all negotiations with GreenWrap Solutions and announced their investment in my company, Enzyme Pack Industries. He called me 47 times that day. Left 18 voicemails ranging from furious to pleading to threatening. I saved every one. Documentation, remember? Finally, he showed up at my apartment. You destroyed me, he said when I opened the door. He looked terrible, unshaven, red-eyed, his usually perfect suit wrinkled. Liu Santangelo is threatening fraud charges. My reputation is ruined. You destroyed yourself. I just documented it. I'm your brother, and I was your sister. That didn't stop you from stealing my life's work and calling me just the secretary. I was trying to help. No, you were trying to take credit. There's a difference. I studied him. This man I'd idolized my whole life, whose approval I'd craved, whose shadow I'd lived in. Do you know why I succeeded where you failed? Because you went behind my back. Because I did the work. 3 years of experiments. Hundreds of failures. Late nights in the lab perfecting the formula while you were at galas and golf courses. You tried to steal the result without understanding the process. That's why your pitches had holes. That's why investors got suspicious. That's why, when they dug deeper, they found the truth. So what now? You're going to let them prosecute me? Your own brother? I thought about it. About Sunday dinners where he'd dismissed my education. About family gatherings where he'd introduced me as just my secretary. About the moment he'd looked me in the eye and decided his MBA mattered more than my mind. I'm not letting them do anything. Your choices have consequences. That's not my responsibility. Millie, please. My name is Amelia. Dr. Amelia Chun, technically, since I finished my PhD last year. But you never asked about that, did you? Too busy assuming I was just the secretary. He stared at me, finally seeing me for perhaps the first time. PhD? When did you? Nights. Weekends. Every moment I wasn't answering your phones or scheduling your meetings. Turns out secretaries can multitask. I started to close the door, then paused. Marcus? The investors didn't choose me over you because I filed patents first. They chose me because when they asked technical questions, I had answers. Real answers, not buzzwords. That's the difference between creating something and stealing it. The door clicked shut on his shocked face. Enzyme Pack Industries launched 6 months later. Our first client was a major food distributor looking to replace their plastic packaging. Within a year, we had contracts with 3 Fortune 500 companies. I hired smart, diverse people who understood that good ideas come from everywhere. Several were former secretaries, assistants, coordinators, people whose potential had been overlooked because of their titles. Marcus eventually settled out of court with Lou Santangelo, avoiding fraud charges, but paying substantial damages. He left investment banking. Last I heard, he was teaching business ethics at a community college. The irony wasn't lost on me. My parents struggled with the family dynamic shift. Their successful son brought low. Their secretary daughter, suddenly running a multimillion-dollar company. Family dinners were awkward until I stopped attending them altogether. You could have helped him, my mother said during our last conversation. Shared the success. He's your brother. He could have helped me, I replied. Respected the work. I was his sister. The patent certificates hang in my office now, dated 6 months before Marcus ever heard of my invention. But more prominent is the photo from my PhD graduation, the one Marcus didn't attend because he had an important client dinner. Sometimes young entrepreneurs ask me for advice, especially women who've been underestimated, overlooked, dismissed. I tell them all the same thing. Document everything. Protect your ideas. And never, ever let anyone convince you that your title defines your potential. Because I was just the secretary. Right up until I wasn't. And that patent filing? The one I'd made 6 months before showing Marcus my invention? I'd actually filed it the day after I started working for him. The day he'd laughed at my chemistry degree and said, "Well, at least you can organize my files now." 5 years of organizing his files. 5 years of learning how business really worked. 5 years of watching brilliant ideas succeed and fail, understanding why, preparing for my moment. He thought I was just the secretary. He was right. I was absolutely the secretary. The secretary with a plan, a patent, and the patience to let him hang himself with his own arrogance. Some might call it revenge. I call it justice. But mostly I call it mine. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.